September 6th today. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, Ben, you're up first.
Good to see you all.
I make a motion that we adjourn into a public hearing.
Second.
Okay, moving second that we go to public hearing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
For the purpose of the noise ordinance. So you wanna explain the ordinance, I guess?
Sure. This is, we had a meeting before about this, and I've made all of the changes that the board requested. Let me just kind of go through the details of it. Okay. So this would be Rich County's first general noise ordinance. Prohibits certain acts, horns, signaling devices of any vehicle, except as a danger warning as provided by the Utah Code. Musical instruments, speakers, radio, television, other similar devices between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. in a manner that's plainly audible by other people who are either on public property or using a public right-of-way, or who are inside their own residences. Hawkers and peddlers, selling anything by outcry in any areas zoned for residential use, other than permitted fairs and sporting events, things like that, parades. Loading, unloading, opening containers, including garbage, between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Construction work in residential area, or that can be heard in a residential area between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Domestic power equipment, power saws, sanders, lawnmowers, leaf blowers, garden equipment, snow removal equipment, outdoors between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Or any defect in a vehicle that, because of disrepair or intentional alteration, emits more noise than the vehicle would if properly fixed, or without the alteration, between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Has certain exemptions, noise related to authorized emergency vehicles, noise resulting from emergency work, noise resulting from any activity for which the person has been granted a permit by the county, all agricultural activity, and activities by government agencies fulfilling their duties. And that would cover our snowplows and garbage trucks. Penalties, this ordinance would declare the prohibited noise to be a nuisance, which would then be, the county could abate under the nuisance statutes. Also, intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly violating this ordinance is an infraction, which would be punishable by fine only. However, knowingly, intentionally, recklessly violating this ordinance after having been cited or warned by law enforcement is a Class B misdemeanor. And that is it. Any questions or comments?
So, is this in the municipalities, within the city limits?
No, this would only be
County.
in the
Outside.
unincorporated area of Rich County.
Cities have to have their own.
Okay, so when they have a concert or something at the arena, like in Lake Town, that'd be city. Okay.
So
Then
some of the things we discussed last time, we wanted the hours changed to 10 to 6 a.m. And we wanted the exemptions for agricultural work, and also the exemption for government activities like our snowplows and garbage trucks. And that's all in there now.
What about a barking dog?
So we have that covered under our dog ordinance.
Okay. Any other public comment? You're our public today.
No comment.
It's a lot of pressure, you can't say
Yeah.
anything?
I know I should, huh?
You're representing about
I should've
3,500
read the
people.
ordinance and like studied it.
Alright. Well, it's very disappointing.
I'm sorry.
It's really not disappointing. Anybody on there? Nope. Okay.
Close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Second.
Move and second, we close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve the ordinance that's been presented to us for the noise ordinance of the county. Ordinance number 02.
Sorry. Oh, that's an O. Oh, for ordinance.
023-7.
Okay, I second that.
Okay.
Is that
Moving,
a copy of it?
yeah, it's moved and second that we adopt the Rich County ordinance for noise control. Ordinance number which was stated. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
That's great. I voted yes, actually.
I'll get that.
You'll do that?
Don't you worry, yep.
Okay.
Will you email me a copy of that once it's all filled out?
Yes.
Okay.
You want me to hurry and make a copy right now?
Or whatever's easier. Okay, so, that is the end of a long project. All of our ordinances are now reviewed and up to date. Probably takes the average age of a Rich County ordinance from 40 years to maybe 3 or 4 years. And so, the next thing that I'd like to do is look at, putting these on our website. And, so I've been researching how to comply with the federal government's ADA requirements. And, you can put PDFs up, but they have to be a certain kind of PDF that is searchable. And so, is that something that the commission is still interested in doing?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Great.
I'd love to have it online.
Like on the top, we have the certain tabs. I'd like to have one that just says county code. And you click it, and then inside of it, I know, John, you said that you had talked to a company that could
Well, a
host
company
that.
came and spoke to us, but I think we could just do it with using our website as the template to do it.
And just have like a list of PDFs, and each PDF could be labeled like dog ordinance, and then you click on it, and it's a searchable, so that someone can use a screen reader. Okay. So I'm gonna start working on that. I'm gonna start converting these all into the type of PDF that someone who is blind could use a reader to read. Once that's done, then hopefully by the end of the year, we have that tab and all of our ordinances there. And that would be,
Yeah, the hardest part is just gonna be gathering the ordinances in the PDF format.
so I have them all gathered.
Okay.
I have a whole file of everything. We just have to, convert some of them, and that'll take me a little bit of time, but
Great.
I think we're on schedule that by the end of this year, we'll have our code up. And it can be done cheaply, and we don't have to pay someone to maintain it. And if we ever amend an ordinance, we can just ask our IT person to remove it and put the new one up. So,
So we need to do our handbook at the same time?
I'd love to get our handbook up there too.
It's gonna be the exact same process, so we might as well just, while we're logged in, do it.
Yeah, so we have, as we're changing employees over, we wanna make sure that every new employee is getting a copy of the handbook and signing the receipt, so if there's ever a problem, we have a document, you got this, you agreed to it. And, to have it on our website, I think would also kind of fill that little gap. And also increase compliance, so that department heads and employees know where to look to see what they should be doing and how to do certain things.
And it'd be awesome to have a searchable, that in searchable format, that we could go you know, search a word.
Search up per diem or whatever
Yeah.
you need to do.
It just
Yeah.
clicks us right to the right spot.
Yep, I think, these documents, we wanna make sure that they're not getting lost, that over time, that they're still right where all of the employees and department heads know where to find them. So, that's the next project for my office, is to get that done.
Great.
Awesome.
Okay. All right.
It's been, I know that's been a long process for you, but thank you for doing that.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a big project, so
Between our ordinances and our personnel handbook,
hopefully that helps Rich County going forward.
you've done a great job.
Well, thank you.
really have.
Yeah. And we appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thank you. Okay, well, that's all my stuff, so I'll
And
probably,
we'll scan to you.
you'll email me that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See ya in a month or so.
Yeah,
Oh, no sooner.
enjoy the ride,
Not even in a month, probably.
enjoy the ride back.
All right, still haven't thought of
You,
anything to say?
you did a great job.
I'll accept that, I guess.
Okay, Commissioner Cox, you have you're gonna review some RFPs for the county engineer.
So, you have in your packet that Annalisa sent out, and she actually even printed some. Looks like we received 2 RFPs, one from Jones and DeMille Engineering and one from JU Engineering. And apparently no other responses, is that correct? Okay, so,
Came to one of you,
What?
unless that response came to one of you. That has me.
So, I don't know how you guys have had an opportunity to review them. Both very capable engineering firms. Both have, expertise in, our requirements of plat reviews and construction monitoring and infrastructure, so, I'm not sure which direction we wanna go here, but at that point in time, we do have them and we can either make a decision today or we can take another month to review it. However, we have some things that, has
Need
come
some
to
attention.
planning and zoning that need to, some plat reviews that need to be done, so. In light of that, the bike path that we, are going to, undertake with the funding that was appropriated, Jones and DeMille came forward with a proposal, basically of, their scope of work for that project and what it's gonna take to do that project and an estimate of what their costs are going to be associated with that project. We do not have to do an RFP on this project based on the funding requirements through UDOT, and so we have the ability to go ahead and appoint a engineering firm without doing an RFP on this particular project. I would recommend, with my experience with JUB, that we go ahead and appoint them as the engineering firm for both P&E and also construction for the bike path, as the time frame is of the essence here to try to move this along. We need to have this money pretty much spent and the project completed by 2024. by the end of 2024. So we're gonna be on a time crunch of getting all the permitting done. This is gonna be an extensive project, and so, but my experience with them on the east side road, on the Cisco Road, was they were done exemplary work, and they were very easy to work with, and very professional, and they have a team to work through that process as well. So in-house, they have people in place to move the process along. So my recommendation is that we have Jones and DeMille do the bike path as the engineering firm to do the bike path. That being totally separate from the county engineer position. So
Is that a motion? Do we need a motion
I would make that motion that we appoint Jones and DeMille
for the bike path?
for the bike path construction, for the engineering firm to do the bike path construction.
Okay, I'll second that on your recommendation, Commissioner Phelps.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that Jones and DeMille be appointed over the engineer over the bike path on the west side of the lake. Any other discussion? Seeing none?
Well, so not about that, but I would just say, do we need to wait till the next meeting for assigning a county engineer firm? Or did you guys want to do that right now?
I haven't really had a chance to compare, but I will go with whatever you two.
I have no, JUB has an office in Garden City. Jones and DeMille has an office in Evanston. Jones and DeMille has a representative that works for them right here in our county. JUB staffs their office out of Logan, but either, like I say, either one are very capable firms. I don't have a preference one way, one or the other. So with that, I
But
don't,
if the planning and zoning need it, my initial response was I just thought, with how closely we've worked with Jones and DeMille, that we ought to try them out for the next few years, see how it goes.
is that in the form of a motion?
Well, it can't be yet. We've got one on the table. So, we got a motion on the table to use Jones and DeMille on the bike path. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Okay, now if you want to make one, you can.
I've compared them, they're pretty comparable. I know more people at Jones and DeMille, so I'd make a motion that we accept Jones and DeMille Engineering for the county engineer for the next few years. That's my motion, but we can discuss it.
What do we want to do for a length of contract on it? That's up to us.
Oh geez. Have we ever done a contract engineer, like I guess that's all we've ever done.
Yeah. So we did a 4-year before, on this one, maybe we ought to do a 2-year contract, and then with the option of renewing for another 2 years without RFPing. Or we can, that's just a thought.
I like the idea of trying it out and then extending, because we may bump into, I know Jones and DeMille Engineering, they're gonna do a good job, but if there's a time frame, it gives us a chance to exit if there is a problem.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. In your motion on that, why don't you state that let's do a 2-year contract with an option to renew after review.
Okay.
Without doing an RFP. And then that gives us a 4-year opportunity, but in 2 years, if it's not working, we end the contract.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to, accept Jones and DeMille as our county engineer for, under a 2-year contract with an option to renew for an extra 2 years without an RFP.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Moved and seconded that we go ahead and use Jones and DeMille Engineering for a 4-year contract with the option of in 2 years review and
Okay,
review it and extend or not in 2 years.
Yeah.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, so in your packet, you have an MOU from Sovereign Lands. This is our contract with them for services that we're providing, i.e. most of it is sanitation services. This is on, particularly along the beach. We are also filling in. They have their own law enforcement that they've been working with this summer. And so, but this contract also, we'll help them, and bill them for any work we do, particularly in the off-season, such as for vehicles and garbage collection, law enforcement wages, those type of things, if they're just dedicated for Sovereign Lands. The contract is for $13,000. We're usually, we usually do 12,000, almost 12, around $12,000 worth of garbage collection for the Sovereign Lands. So there's not a whole lot there. But in other years, we've hired the law enforcement and we've paid the law enforcement wages, and they've been working under our sheriff's department this year. They have their own people and have been coordinating that, and I think it's done really well. I think it's worked out really well. So I hope they'll continue to do that. That opened some avenues for them to bring off-duty officers in at a higher rate to try to entice them, but it also put the burden of them for the patrol and took it away. Well, relieved our officers from having to do that. So I recommend that we sign the MOU we've got, even though we're almost all the way through the summer, for the $13,000 per year. This MOU is non-lapsing. In other words, it will go on until one or the other notifies the other party that we are no longer want to participate in that. So I would recommend that we go ahead and sign the MOU for the $13,000 to provide garbage and sanitation, particularly for Sovereign Lands, and minimal enforcement if needed.
That's a motion?
That is a motion.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
All right, moved and seconded that we enter in with Sovereign Lands on the MOU agreement. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. That's all I have.
We have one of those to sign.
Yes. That would be right there.
path agreement.
I'm gonna need to know who to send this to get their signatures.
Rowdy Jensen, the one that sent it to us. I think his address is in his email, maybe you can just scan it and send it back to him. I don't know if they need a wet signature, or you can do that.
Okay,
I'll-
we'll do that.
I'll check on that and find out for you. So we did a bike path agreement, so, I don't, have you seen an agreement from Jones in the mail? Well, we needed to make a motion and they'll give us a signed agreement, so, sorry. Okay, I'm done.
So we need a motion on that.
No,
No, we don't.
You have one.
Oh, we've already
we
got it.
already did that,
Okay.
yeah.
Thought they were gonna send us something to sign.
Well, they will after we approve it,
Oh,
if we decide to approve them, so, okay. Yeah, I'm done, so we can move on to our next item.
all right. Kim?
Okay, Kim Wilson, Rich County Assessor. I have 2 personal property exemptions that need approval.
Usually you have 2 piles.
I just have 2 today, so we'll just look at them and then.
Wow. That's all?
That's all today. We should be winding down with them. We're just trying to get everything finalized, but it just seems like it drags out forever.
You said just these 2?
Yep.
These? What? I'll make a motion that we accept these exemptions for personal property tax as presented by Kim Wilson.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we accept the personal property tax exemption as presented by our assessor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carried.
Thank you. Next thing I have is Matt Sneyd. I don't know how to say his last name. He brought to my attention, it was after BOE last year, that the value on his property had jumped to $720,000, and everything around it was not there. So somehow it was a typing error on my part, or I did something. And I checked all of the other properties around. This is in section 7, so it's back up above Sweetwater. And so his had jumped clear to 720, and everything else was 200,000 or less, or 300. I think 300 was the max. Anyway, I corrected it for this year, but for last year in 2022. I cannot fix that. I can't do anything with that. That's something you guys have to approve for me to correct the value and then abate the taxes. At this point in time, I don't believe he's paid his taxes for last year. Last time I checked, he had not. So my recommendation would be to take it from the 720,000 on the land value from in 2022 down to the 200,000 even for like I have it for 2023. So that would abate the taxes, so that would allow me to correct the value in LouJean's tax roll. So then the taxes can be abated for the additional.
And that's, since he hasn't paid it, that's all we'll need to do.
And that's a error on my part, so I don't know how that got there. I don't know what I was doing that day. So I have no other explanation.
So when did he contact you about it?
It was last fall. It was after Board of Equalization. I got the exact date back in my office. I didn't bring it down here.
Okay.
It was, I wanna say around the tax time, but I don't know that. Like I said, I have it in my office. And I told him to let me look at it, and it took me a while to kind of sort through it and figure out what was done and check all the properties in the area to see why that one was so far out of whack.
So he hasn't paid his 2022 taxes, but on the other hand, he contacted you and you told him to wait.
I told him to let me check it out.
Okay, so I'm just wondering about penalties and interest. So do you feel like that there ought to be penalties and interest paid on the corrected amount, or should we not?
Well, in as far as I know, the taxes are due and payable, and then if there's a refund, that's done at a later date. That would be up to you guys. I don't have anything to do with penalties and interest. That's on that's LouJean's. But he shouldn't have to pay it on the $720,000.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
it's a corrected amount, but on the other hand, if you indicated that, I'm just wondering if it's appropriate to, if putting him on hold, we should be paying, he should have to pay penalties and interest knowing that there was probably a problem. I mean, I just wondered what your indication to him was.
I'm guessing I put him on hold, just told him that I would check into it, and it took a while because it wasn't the only thing I had to do. I had a ton of stuff, and it took a while. So that's probably on me,
Okay.
for penalties and interest. I can get you the exact date that he contacted me, but like I said, it took me longer than I had anticipated to sort that all out and figure out what the heck. I had to get all of the properties in Section 7 and go through them and try to figure out what their values were and how I did it, and then look at his value and figure out, and I don't know, I have no idea where I come up with the 720. I can't blame anybody, because
Okay.
I'm the only one in there that does it.
Yeah.
But as far as penalties and interest, like I said, that's your call, but
We-
I'm sure I told him to wait until
Yeah.
I could check it out. So,
Okay, I make a motion that we do a value adjustment on,
to 200,000.
to the 200,000
Matt Sneyd.
for Matt Sneyd on the 2022 and 2023 taxes.
And the parcel number on that is 36-07-000-0026. And the name on that is actually under Cash Pines LLC.
I'll second that motion.
Alrighty, got a motion and a second, for, what you call that?
Value adjustment.
Value adjustment for Matt Sneyd on the property that has been stated prior. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Now, did you do that without penalties and interest?
Yes.
Okay, so it's,
I think so, yes.
okay. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And then the ambulance rates that we talked about this morning. We are at $1,000 call out, $30 a mile. I think we can charge $14.39. The base rates for ground ambulances is the advanced EMT ground ambulance, $14.39 per transport. But then it also has advanced ground ambulance licensed as an EMTIA ambulance, and that's $17.71. And I'm not sure, because we were an intermediate ambulance, but then they took away the intermediate and went with advanced.
Advanced, yep.
So I'm not exactly sure. I think JCI said we were at the $14.39, But then the standard mileage, we can go up to 42.24, so we are over that now. And so the presidency was thinking 1,200 call out and 35 cents a mile, or I mean $35 a mile.
1,200 a call,
Yeah,
and what, 30,
$35 a mile. Like I said, we can charge up to 42.24 a mile.
mhm.
That's a lot. You know, I mean, I can see it if you're transporting across Salt Lake, or you're 5 to 10 minutes from a
Yeah.
hospital. I mean, we're at least 30 minutes from a hospital, and you know, the shortest transport would be by the state line, and that's going to be still a pretty good bill for mileage. But that's up to you guys if you want to change it.
That's 1750 just for mileage from Lake Town to Logan,
Yeah. Plus the call out.
plus a call out, which would add another.
And I know a lot of people, their philosophy
1,200.
is, well, insurance pays for it. Well,
Pretty near
that's not always the case, and then,
$3,000.
you know, every time we ding insurance, all they do is raise their rates to their people. It just doesn't make sense to me, but that's what the law says, we can charge up to those amounts, but not over.
Well, that puts us pretty much in the mid-range. I mean, it's not like we're charging the max amount, right?
Yeah, we're not charging, no, we're definitely not charging the max, we're below that by quite a ways.
Yeah,
And like I said, we're the only ones that JCI bills for that's not at that.
and we haven't raised rates, I don't think, for a couple of years.
No, it's been, I'm thinking 3 or 4. I also have that information in my office and I didn't find it
That's
down.
okay. It's been at least a couple or
It's
3
been a
years,
while.
yeah. So, I think I would make a motion to adjust the rates for the ambulance.
You're gonna do that even though it's not on the agenda.
Oh, no, we can't. Sorry, I'm glad you brought that up.
So you will do that next
So we
month,
put that on the agenda for next month.
and then I won't need to be here for that, right? You guys will just do that? Or do you want me to come back in on that?
No, we can put that on there. I think what we'll do is have some discussion about that. We'll take the recommendation of the executive board on the EMT executive board, so.
Presidency.
Yeah, Kim, my biggest question is gonna be, why are we raising the rates? Are we losing money? Is there,
We
Just the price.
haven't done it, the price of fuel is pretty hefty. As far as the ambulance service, we've been able to stay within our budget once it's presented
Wow.
and approved by you guys. The other thing is the ambulances cost a lot. When we try to sell our old one, we don't get, I think the last one was like 20,000 maybe, 25
Yeah,
at
so
the
the
most.
new ambulance spec'd out $80,000 more than the last one.
okay.
And so, and that's like 100 and,
That's the only thing, there's the disconnect between how much we're collecting, how much it's costing, and why are we raising the rates?
as far as the collections, I don't have that amount because it goes through JCI and the money is sent to the clerk's office. I don't have any, I just know there's some things that they send that we don't collect for. We used to take it through small claims, and then the small claims judge, justice court or something, they wanted we used to take it through small claims, and there was usually a judgment found because people usually didn't come. And the fee to do the small claims was tied to the people's, the bill for the people. Now, the new judge, is it Judge Wilmore?
No, it's.
Judge Cook, said we couldn't do that anymore. We had to pay to go through small claims, which was like $65 back then, that's been a few years ago, to pay that. And it was like, we're just trying to collect for the county, so why should we have to pay to get a judgment for the people that actually owe the bill?
Yeah,
So I quit trying to do all of the small claims, so they send it back to the county, and then I don't know if the clerk's office does anything past that as far as trying to collect on those. I don't know, because JCI will only hold those for so long, then they send them back to the county.
Yeah.
And
Well, if we're raising rates just because we can raise them, I'm 1,000% against it. But if we're raising rates because we need to, I'm 1,000% for it.
like I said, we've been able to stay within our budget, but you guys have been good to fund it. I don't know, like I said, the ambulance, so I know we budget, try to,
And the
do that
cost
every
of the new one is,
cost of the new one
Jumped.
it's
Yeah.
getting close to $200,000.
So it'll be
for
good to
ambulance.
have a month to look at that. But I think we'll probably just take whatever recommendation we get from you guys.
That's what you've asked me for in the past, and we haven't usually because they do this every year around the 1st of
Yeah.
July, they raise the rates.
We
so that
raised it
get up to the max.
the last time I raised it, it was one of the first few months I was in office. So it's been quite a while. It's been 3-ish years.
That's what I was thinking. So if you want me to, I can bring as much information back as I can. But like I said, a lot of it, the clerk's office will have, I won't. I don't know what the cost, the
I
total
can look
cost
at
was.
I can look into it myself.
Okay, because I don't know what the total cost of our last ambulance that we purchased was. It would have been a 2017, I believe, or, well, no, we just got ours
Yeah.
on this side. It's been a year or so ago.
You said they've gone up a lot.
They go up, it just, and then once we,
plus they're hard to find.
then once we try to sell ours after like 3 or 4 or 5 years, we can't get anything out of them.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part. And then fuel costs have gone up, but like I said, I haven't seen where we've overspent our budget at all. We usually are well within our budget. And then supplies, I mean, everything's gone up, you know,
Yeah.
as usual.
Does
But
compensating you guys come out of that same budget?
No, it hasn't.
I've actually got a grant this year to to reimburse us back for a lot of that money that we have paid out to the to the personnel.
But it could come out of that if we wanted to.
It could come out of that.
Or if we wanted to
I
pay a
think
little
you
bit more.
guys put it in as per diem within our budget, but then I've actually got grant money that's reimbursed us back. And this year they gave me more grant money also, so for this year I should be able to do the same thing, is get reimbursed back for most, if not all, of our personnel, of paying the $50 per transport.
Okay.
That's what we're doing is $50 per transport for them. Not if we don't transport, then we don't get paid, and it's just a straight $50. That's kind of been the fairest way to do it, because there's a lot we don't transport on that people are released on scene to, for whatever reason they don't want to be transported, or if an air ambulance comes in, a helicopter, we don't transport for those. We don't bill for any of that.
Okay.
So some of the costs that we try to recoup through our billing process is to handle the ones that we use supplies and respond to for gas, wear and tear on ambulance,
There's always a,
things like that we don't transport.
Yeah.
And we do that a lot, there's quite a few. But
Because
I
you
can-
never collect billing from those people or anything like that.
No.
Yeah.
And then also there's some that, like I said, JCL will try to collect for, and if they can't,
It's just
then I
lost.
don't know, I don't know if the county just eats those. I don't have, like I said, they go to the clerk's office and I'm out of it by that process. I'm only in it till we send it to the billing company, basically.
Okay.
So they'll usually let me know, but then, like I
and
said,
then
we
if we
used to,
fly them out, we start IVs and
yeah,
we do all, we put some meds in them and stuff, and then we don't
we don't collect any
collect
for that.
anything from them.
So, like I said, the rates, our rates are, I'm guessing we're probably the lowest in the state on our rates, because I'm
Yeah.
guessing everybody else
Do
probably.
you guys
charges
keep track of, I assume you keep track of the medicine you use that's not billed for? Or
No.
like what would have,
On the
could have been
reports,
billed?
on the
On the
report
report it
sheets,
is.
it'll be on there, but I couldn't tell you how much or what would have been billed for if we'd transported.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of work that goes on, depends on the call, but if it's a heart attack or a stroke, a lot of times they've already received quite a bit of care, or if it's a really bad injury and they've been flown out, there's a lot of supplies that have been used. But,
Okay.
anyway, that's kind of your call, but I can get as much data as I can and bring back, and then if you research it yourself.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but we know since we raised the rates last, fuel costs have gone up drastically.
Yeah.
Diesel is crazy, and that's a big cost to the county.
And I think we're all interested in analyzing if we need to keep paying more. you know, if they're happy with the $50 plus whatever, you know, let's figure out if we
When they
need to
haven't
pay-
got anything, $50 is pretty nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
So-
mean, I haven't heard any complaints.
No,
We usually do it once a year, so we're not like paying them every month, it's just
Yeah.
like at Christmas time, so it's kinda like a bonus.
yeah,
And that seems to have been, I've never heard any complaints about
no.
them getting some money
yeah, it's cause it went from nothing to something.
to something,
Yeah.
you know. Cause that's a lot of time, you put in a lot of time, you know, they put in a lot of time and effort, because they go on a lot that they're not getting compensated for, you know, that it takes them away from jobs and everything else. Yeah, they can go back and, you know, people are good, but not every job is as convenient to leave and then come back to as others, so. You know,
Yeah.
and obviously if they can't go, they can't go, but it's, you know,
I think that's
this last
probably
year-
what would interest me more, not to interrupt you, but if we're gonna increase the rates, you know, per mile or per call out, then to compensate more if we do end up
Okay.
billing, you know?
All right,
If it's not like $50 per call out plus 50 if you run, but $50 per call out and 100 if you run, you know? It's,
Okay.
cause if it's gonna cost us, if we're gonna collect money for it, we probably should, that could justify the increase more to me than, you know, we're gonna compensate our volunteers.
okay. So I will get as much additional information as I can and bring back to you next month.
I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but.
Yeah.
And then we can analyze it and see exactly where we're at. And maybe you can check into our budget, print a copy of our budget of what we've spent so far. Cause I don't,
They spend average per run probably 3.5 hours over there to 4. And over here it's probably 3,
probably
2.5 to 3,
depends on,
3.5.
it just
If they go to
depends.
Evanston, you mean, or?
Yeah,
Yeah, cause we transport, but this year
Depends
we
on-
have gone over there and helped transport to
Logan.
Logan because it's been so busy.
And that's a
Both other
5-hour day.
ambulances have been gone, and then it's a 5-hour day from here all the way over. But it's still, it takes a lot of time.
So the revenue for the ambulance, we projected for this year is 75,000, which last year at that point in time, we had collected when we set the budget about 73,000. And for this year, we put in for a new ambulance plus expenses, we put 294,000 in. So that includes the 180,000 for the new ambulance and or just a little more than 180,000. So without buying an ambulance, the cost of running those 3 ambulances with everything going on is right around what we've been generating. So
Okay,
we've tried over the years to put 20 to 25,000 in the capital projects budget on the off years to help offset the initial cost on the ambulance, and when we only had the 2 ambulances, that worked really well because we was just rotating every 4 years, and by the time we were ready to buy a new ambulance, we had another $100,000 to put toward the ambulance. But now we have 3 ambulances, we're in a quicker rotation, you know, so it's not like the ambulance budget makes a lot of money, and this 294,000, I'll have to look. I don't believe that included anything for to pay the,
yeah, no, I think that came separately.
yeah, so anyway, I mean, it's not like we're doing the max and we're not raising every year, but I mean, we're not actually keeping up either. I mean, the ambulances, I know this new ambulance was 65 or 70,000 more than the last one, so.
And I'm, like I said, 100% on board if the data says that's what we do.
And like I said, I just don't know all that data. That's why I bring it to you on the
Yeah,
rates.
yeah,
Because
no,
they ask me, JCI asks me once they're raised, or the state raises the max, then they always ask me, and I always go through you guys, and then the first thing you guys usually ask is, what did the presidency recommend? And so that's why I've got what they recommended, and most of that was because of the fuel costs,
okay,
is because we are, like I said, we are transporting far, but the gas of diesel, or the price of diesel is expensive.
Okay.
and they are diesel ambulances.
So I think the discussion of compensations is gonna come during the budgeting period, but if you can't be here because of the Richfield tournament, maybe see if somebody
I'll be
else-
here,
Okay,
because I have to have my BOE stuff back to
Okay.
you for you to make your final decisions. Then I have to get the changes in so LouJean can move on with her stuff. So that's the problem. We start moving that October meeting, and then it starts to, it snowballs everybody.
well,
It
if you're gonna
starts
be
to
here
affect
then, we'll
everybody.
just see you then, I
But
guess.
I will plan on being here, cause we have to finalize those Board of Equalization decisions. You have to make your final decisions on that day.
Okay,
Because like I said, but the danger in moving that meeting very far is it starts to affect every office in here, except for maybe Kaya's. But because of getting out tax notices and all of that, because I've got to get the changes in and everything before she can actually send them to the printer. Does that make sense?
yeah,
And that's when you do that. So you'll hear everything on the 18th, and we'll go through it all, and then I'll bring recommendations back to you on that meeting in October. So, and then I have to get all the changes made if there's a lot of them
okay,
before LouJean can actually send her stuff out. So, like I said, it's quite a process. It's not just you move the meeting and it's all. It's like, wait a minute.
That's
It
fine.
starts to move. It starts to, especially when we have timelines as far as getting tax notices out. Those, during the summer it's not as bad because we don't have the timelines. But you start talking tax notices, people are looking for them.
Yeah.
So, and we have, I think there's deadlines in the law that actually have to be met. So,
okay.
and again, that's not all my job. I just have my portion to do before she can get her deadlines met. So, thank you very much. Do you have anything else for me?
I don't
I don't,
think
Okay.
so.
Thank you, Kim.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Eugene, don't be running
Get
off.
out of here.
Thank you.
See
Thanks
ya.
for
Thank
coming.
you guys.
See ya.
LouJean, Argyle, Rich County Treasurer. I just have a resolution that the state treasurer asked us to sign for PTIF accounts, giving authority to myself and Annalisa to look up the accounts and move funds or whatever we need to, so I need that signed. The only thing I noticed is it does need a notary, and where I'm one of the ones on it, I don't know that I can notarize it. So you might have to take it to the bank or somewhere.
You're the only one in the courthouse, huh?
Yep. I used to be a notary, but not anymore.
well, you're the other one on it, so,
Yeah,
wouldn't-
so
that
that
wouldn't
wouldn't
help
help
either.
anyway. So, I mean, me and Annalisa can sign it, cause we're not notarizing our signature, but it's your signature, so I can do it, I just don't know if the state will go, yeah, you need to redo this.
I can run it to the bank.
Okay.
so you're not currently on these already?
I'm still on it. You just have to have
This is just
two
adding
on it.
in,
I
okay.
had to take Becky off and add Annalisa on it.
Okay. Okay, this is easy then. I'll make a motion that we authorize our chairman to sign this public entity resolution from the Office of the State Treasurer, adding our clerk and keeping our treasurer on our PTIF accounts, access to those.
Second.
Okay, motion is that chairman sign the public entity resolution. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is unanimous. So do I sign it?
Well, you'll have to sign it in front of the
her,
notary.
yeah,
Me and
right.
Annalisa can sign by our names. I just looked at that and I went, oh, I probably can't do that.
So when he signs it, he'll need to give it back to you.
Yeah, and then I'll send it down to the state and I'll
So
leave
if you're
a
not,
copy here.
if you're not stamping that you signed it, maybe you can stamp that I signed it.
I don't know.
That's true.
You're stamping that I signed it,
Yeah,
not that you
I'm
did.
notarizing your signature, not mine.
So,
if you want, we can try that,
What do you think, Bill?
but,
Well, yeah, I mean, you're just verifying it's his signature. I mean, you're not signing it, right?
no.
Your signature.
I mean, they
this is-
wanted our signature on it, but we're not part of the notary. It's only his signature that's part of the notary.
I
But
think-
it's kind of.
I think I would take it to the bank rather than just, take it over to the bank and have them do it.
Cause I
There's
think
no
they
use
might
in
send
having-
it back and go, well, you really ought to have a different notary on it. So-
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'll try and get that back to you
Okay,
sometime this year.
hey, I'm already on there, but you might not be able to get in there.
Alrighty. Is this expenditures? Did you look at it?
I haven't yet. I kinda just cruised through it.
Oh, and we got more minutes than just 1 month, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
This takes care of the whole year, all of the ones that were missed.
Okay, I would make a motion that we approve the January 4th minutes for 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded that January 4th minutes be approved. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried.
Oh, you guys signed the wrong one. I'll take. Oh. This one says, do say draft, this one doesn't. Hold on. I think I had to take it. Here, sign this one for me. Mr. Cox. I think I need to redo that, that's why there's not a draft.
Okay,
Even though that's silly, Mr.
no,
Whatever.
you're fine.
Thank you.
Alright, I'd make a motion that we approve the minutes for the, April 3rd meeting for 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the minutes for the April 3rd, 2023 commission meeting. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, I'd make a motion that we approve the May 3rd minutes for 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded that the minutes for May 3rd
Uh-huh,
be approved. All in favor say aye.
aye.
Aye. Sorry.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve last month's August 2nd minutes for 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve August 2nd minutes for commission meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, that takes care of the minutes. I'd make a motion that we approve the expenditures for, the month of July, August.
Second that.
Moved and seconded that expenditures for August be approved. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Did you vote?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Oh, hang on. You have a non-draft in front of you for the August minutes and we signed the
With them.
Still having a hard time.
You gotta sign that again. So, does it say draft on it or
It
something?
says draft when they're the versions that you guys have. The versions I have say do not have
Where does it
draft.
say draft on it?
Right here.
Right across the,
Oh,
says that
oh,
outside.
oh, oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's
how does this get moved around?
I was just trying to confuse you. Alright,
Had something I was gonna talk to you about, and I can't remember what it is.
Is that, are we done with this? We're done with this meeting then? We are, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, that's the agenda.
Okay.
We do have an issue on, we need to get some money in the fair account. How do we pay our fair bills, cause there's not enough money.
I can go get a printout. You do have enough money to pay them, and they're just in a different,
Oh,
they were just looking at the line items, and I would like you to look over the expenditures.
I looked over what there was yesterday.
That pile.
Mhm. And that, I'm all good with everything, it just, if long as you got money to pay them,
Yeah, we do.
cause the girls didn't know where to bring the money from.
Yeah, just as long as we're pulling it from the miscellaneous
Okay,
one, so.
okay, we're good then.
Yeah.
move to adjourn.
Second.
Moving second, that we adjourn until the next meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion